persons who happen to be black are stopped almost 5 times as often as people who are white. When people who are Native are stopped as much as 11 times more often, I think the councillors understood something needs to happen.
Montreal City Council voted unanimously in favor for a motion calling for an immediate stop to unjustified street checks by police after a scathing report found systemic racial bias in the checks.
All the councillors said it's unjustifiable that persons who are visible minorities or Native persons get stopped in our streets, not because they've committed a crime or an infraction, but on the suspicion or a hunch of a police officer based on their discretion.
Independent councillor Marvin Rotran, who presented the motion, says this united all parties at Monday's City Council meeting. Those in the Plante administration say they want this motion to send a clear message to the SPVM.
While street checks can be a legitimate tool for policing, they have to be done in a way that is not arbitrary and is well-founded on legitimate criteria.
The city is appealing to the province, asking them to table a law banning routine police checks in police departments across Quebec. City News reached out to Quebec's Public Security Ministry, and they said they're monitoring the situation closely and will determine if additional action is needed.
No police force in Quebec currently has a policy governing how street checks can take place, and so we've put in a request to the provincial government that they come up with a policy in this regard, but we've also mandated the SPVM to come up with its own policy, which they have promised us will be in effect as of March of next year.
20 anti-racism and community groups showed support for this motion, and some say the unanimous adoption is in fact a win.
It's a good first step. Congratulations on that, and I hope that they will continue to listen to the community.
Nelson says while proper legislation and policies should help the situation, it may be some time before real change occurs.
Then to see how it will play out in Montreal, because in Toronto it took about a year and a half by the time the legislation was put in place and by the time that people started to react differently to minorities on the streets.
Montreal's Public Security Commission will hold a meeting on the topic Friday since they can't force the SPVM to stop doing the checks. The SPVM told City News they can't comment on this case to not interfere with the class action lawsuit on racial profiling. In Montreal, Alyssia Rubertucci, City News.